Today, we've got an absolutely incredible story for you. It's about a young girl who found a way to speak to the world, but not with her voice. She did it with a paintbrush. This is the story of Iris Grace. Okay, so first, just take a look at this. Seriously, look at the complexity, the colors, the emotion just pouring out of it. The Times actually called her work highly intricate, luminous pieces of art. And you can see why, right? It's just so captivating. It's kind of like looking at a reflection on water or, I don't know, something from a dream. So when you see something like this, you're probably thinking it's a seasoned artist, right? Someone with decades of experience. Well, the real story behind this painting is way more remarkable than you could ever guess. So the big question is, who is the artist? All right, to really get this, to understand the art, we have to go back to the beginning. We need to talk about a little girl living in a world of silence, facing this just really profound challenge. So back in 2011, when she was just 2 years old, Iris Grace was diagnosed with a severe form of autism. And this was, it was a life-changing diagnosis for her family. She was in so many ways just completely closed off from the world around her. And the initial prognosis from the doctors, it was just filled with hopelessness. Her mom, Arabella, said they just focused on all the things Iris might never do. She may not talk, she may not live independently, It was this incredibly bleak outlook that, honestly, could have just been completely crushing. Can you imagine trying to connect with your own child, but they're literally building a physical wall to keep you out? That was the reality for Iris's family. She would build this little fortress around herself with books. She was there, but she was also totally detached, just lost in her own private world. But then, something changed. A major turning point. A new character entered the story. And it wasn't a doctor or a new therapist, it was a cat. You see, Iris's parents always had this belief that animal therapy could help. They tried a lot of things, horses, dogs, but nothing really clicked. And then they discovered Maine Coon cats, and this is where their dedication is just incredible. They specifically looked for a Maine Coon because this breed often loves water, and bath time was something Iris found super stressful. And that very specific search, that's what led them to Thula. And the effect? It was instant. It was like magic, this immediate, powerful bond. Thula started doing everything with Iris. She would even get in the bath with her, which just completely transformed that whole stressful daily experience. It was a total game changer. So Thula wasn't just a pet, She was so much more. She became the best friend Iris had never had, a constant comfort, a bridge to the outside world. It's just a perfect example of that profound therapeutic bond that can happen between people and animals. She was like a therapist and a best pal, all wrapped up in one furry package.
And Tula's arrival, well, it didn't just bring friendship. It unlocked something absolutely incredible inside of Iris. It helped her find a whole new language.
So, with Thula right there by her side, often just sitting on the table like a little artist's assistant, Iris started to paint. And what came out onto the canvas was this explosion of color and feeling. This wasn't just a hobby, no way. This was a form of expression she had never, ever had before. And this is where it gets really fascinating. Her parents actually learned how to interpret her art. It became a form of communication. They could literally read her moods in her brush strokes. So if she was making these high flicking motions or hard stamping with the brush, they knew she was feeling tense or anxious. But then when she used pale blues and these really fluid strokes, they knew she was calm, she was relaxed. It was like this raw, unfiltered art therapy happening right in front of them, where the process itself was the message. And just as her mom said, it was like they began to hear her for the first time. Not through words, but through her painting. The art, it literally became her voice. And that voice, it wasn't just her parents who heard it. Pretty soon, it started to echo all around the globe. The response was just phenomenal. Think about this. Her paintings, made by a little girl who couldn't speak, were being bought by collectors all over the world. We're talking people like Angelina Jolie. Her story became a best-selling book published by Penguin, translated into 11 different languages. And maybe the best part, the money from her art sales now funds all of her ongoing therapy and her education. It's just such an incredible journey, isn't it? A voice that was once trapped in this private, silent world is now hanging on walls in homes all across the planet, speaking to people everywhere without ever saying a word. You know what I think I love most about this whole story is this takeaway from her mom. Their whole journey just completely transformed their perspective. They went from facing that awful negative prognosis to truly embracing this idea that different is brilliant. And that's such a powerful message, right? It's about not trying to force conformity, but instead following your child's lead to find out what makes them happy. And really, that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Iris Grace found her voice with a paintbrush and a cat. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other hidden voices are out there right now, just waiting for the right key, the right friend, the right moment, to unlock their own brilliant, different way of speaking to the world?